15 minutes of audio just disappear when the laptop just shut down inexplainably, and for some reason it didn't save. I think it's there somewhere. It should be.
Maybe
I think it's a website.
South Florida laptop, and it's too cold, and it just went dormant, just like our iguanas.
Yeah, it's very cold. We're, you know what? Let's not repeat this just in case we want to use those 15 minutes.
Right.
But it's very cold. We mentioned iguanas. What else do we do? Keep on talking.
Well, we talked about how cold it's actually going to be, but it's only a couple of days, so it shouldn't be too bad. You know, we'll tolerate it. I mean, it's not like we're dealing with sub-zero temperatures or anything, so... But, you know, we're just used to it being comfortably 85.
Comfortably, well, up 75 at least.
Right.
Now it's 60 going down to 40, and we're dressed up like we're going to
we're going to build
a game. Green Bay game in late September, maybe. Or maybe early October, because late September you can still be wearing. You don't need a hat. But I think we're going to recover that. I guess we're going to do 50 minutes. We'll do 35 minutes.
Yeah.
And it'll either be a short show or a really long show.
There you go.
Yeah. And okay, well, a nice thing, I'm getting older. I can't even fucking remember what I was saying.
Well,
it was funny. I was just going to play this recording.
Yeah.
When the sound, the computer just went boom. And it didn't save anything, which it should, because we're recording on the online app.
Yeah.
So that should be
Maybe
there.
they'll be
But I have a friend who's a physician, and I wanted to record him. And this is how I set him up. Okay, let's go and I'll try to advance it to this guy. So listen closely here. We don't do baskets for dogs. And the guy goes, well, what am I going to do? I really love that dog. And the priest says, listen, why don't you go to the Methodist down the street? Maybe they'll do it. Because you think if I give them $5,000 to do a service for my dog? And the priest goes, oh, why didn't you tell me your dog was a Catholic? So I'm a real shitty sound engineer, so I'm trying to figure out how to isolate that so I can get him in. Oh, it's doing something weird too, but hopefully we'll get the sound. So I want to get that laugh in there, get in laugh track. I want to try to get all the laughs that I get. If someone's laughing like...
This is hysterical.
Yeah, it's a good one. I just want to record it. It was in a movie, Amelie, and there was one of the characters, her love interest, who she was trying to track down, is a French movie.
Okay.
And she's a waitress in Paris, and she finds this album this guy's collecting, and she kind of falls in love with him from afar. And she's learning about this guy from a friend of. He works in a peep show, and he also works at a carnival. But at the peep show, one of the strippers comes and starts telling her what it's about, and she says, "Yeah, he loves doing weird collections of things. And one of the collections used to do recordings of people's laughs. He used to have it, whenever they did it, and some people just like that, or that. A friend of mine, and I don't know if he'll do it, but he laughs like, ha 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 ha."
This is super.
Yeah, I supposedly I'm like Herman Munster when I do. I don't know if I do it exactly like that.
I like. Have you ever watched Ellen's show?
Yeah.
Like her laugh when she just like cannot handle it anymore. Like she just goes from a laugh to like an.
Oh, yeah.
Like she just can't get it out anymore.
Yeah,
it's just awesome.
So I figure working a bar, I can probably get like. 20 or 30 of them. I want to put one in Slat and say, can I have this one? And I'll just go. And I'll give maybe I'll just we'll use what we use in that one.
There you go.
There's some people. I like to use Tina's voice.
Oh, she does have a good laugh.
She has a thing. You're an asshole.
She gets real high.
Yeah, she gets real high and she goes, did you hear me? I said, you know what? I fucking think everyone heard you. I think the people 25 miles up the road heard you. shit. There's some. I'm a loud guy. I know I'm loud. People have always told me that.
Well, I think you're only loud when you're in a loud setting, though, just so that people can hear you. It's not like when you're just sitting here having.
I'm loud. I'm purposely modulate my voice when I'm doing the
podcast.
Not just the podcast. When I'm doing at a meeting, at one of my meetings or something like that, I'll tune it down somewhat.
Turn it down
because I listen to the other people. I'm like I said, everyone, if you're a regular listener, you know my age, and I don't want to be one of those guys that gets louder as he gets older.
Because your hearing started to go.
My hearing, well, obviously your hearing does go, but luckily I did take care of it. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I was a young man in the 80s, and that was very loud music. 70s, not as much. It was the 80s where people really started cranking that fucking shit up.
Yeah, the boom
and
boxes.
I wasn't really into that loud. And I wasn't in a lot of areas where super loud places. I did go to clubs and stuff like that that got loud. But so my hearing, but there's a lot of young people with damaged hearing. And you see that all around nowadays. I get these emails for coming, I guess because I'm in my late 50s, you go, hey, living hearing and stuff like that. And I go, what the fuck? Am I people trying to tell me stuff and I'm not listening and they sending me emails? And did I not? I had a hearing problem when I was younger. I don't think I have a problem now. And I'm a bartender. I think I hear shit. If I'm paying attention, I hear shit from across the room.
Yeah.
And there's some people that come in and it was a lady, it was, once again, Martini Mondays at the Catch.
Yes.
Every Monday, 6 to 8. Regular happy hours, 3:30 to 6:30. Great deals and all that stuff at the Catch in Key Largo. So this lady comes in, and two ladies are together. One says, I'll have a Yingling. And I'm like, wow, it's Martini Monday. She orders a Yingling because normally she's a Martini person. And the other one starts doing it, and there's no fucking sound coming out of her mouth. And her friend goes, she's trying to be sexy and be in low voice and stuff and I said, well, maybe sexy, but she's also going to be thirsty, sexy and thirsty, because I didn't hear shit. And when they start doing that, someone says, I'll have it. And they go, and then I'll go, okay, I got it. And I'll just whisper the shit back at them. I do it all the time. There's a guy who comes in, Jesse, we call him Frenchie.
Okay.
And he talks, he doesn't move his lower jaw. And he told me something, and I said, well, did you have your jaw broken? Nope. He says, well, I got a problem. And they said, does any of that have to do with the muscles in your jaw? And he goes, no. And I said, why don't you move your mouth when you talk? You're talking like a ventriloquist, a low-talking ventriloquist. Because usually when you're in a bar, you also use slight lip reading.
Yeah.
When someone goes, what the fuck? Well, you can see that with the bottom lip touched the top teeth.
Yeah. And
I know that's an F sound. I know that. And Martini, it's tight lips. Beer, the lips come out. The lips come kind of.
You almost have to. I think when there's so many people talking at once, and you need to filter that one person that's in front of you. If you're not reading the
it's a visual and audio experience when you're talking to them. Yeah, you're just looking at them and you're trying to read on them. And there's some people that come in there and the guy has a dirty T-shirt on and stuff like that. And you better mouth that kettle martini, because I'm thinking Budweiser for you. Because I got to see that kettle martini dirty, But otherwise, if you don't move your lips and don't speak up, I'm thinking Budweiser for you. So how do we get there this far? Look at that sound. Look at it.
Gosh, it's
fucking
like
the wind's kicking up.
Yeah.
Yep. And hopefully we'll keep this sound here. I think we may have 2 parts of shows for you guys. It'll be an extra long show. Either we are almost 10 minutes into the show, or we are 25 minutes into the show.
Well, and you know what I was thinking? I wonder if you could email over that the recording of Dr. Tom and have the publishers upload it and add it in.
I was going to do it in Dropbox. I'm going to do it in Dropbox.
That way they can.
Yeah, I do it.
You can actually hear it, because that was really funny.
Well, yeah, I blasted it, the thing on there and stuff. But I don't know. Maybe they will be here. You'll be hearing in the future, and there'll be other ones and stuff like that. Because I'm exposed to those people. So wait, we were just talking. You told me something yesterday that there was an email, or was it on Facebook post?
On Facebook, and from my hometown, Minneapolis, there is a morning show. There's a radio station called 101.3 KDWB, and it's
FM.
It's FM. Yep. And
what's the number on the dial?
101.3.
101.3, one of my favorite numbers.
KDWB.
Yeah.
And Dave Ryan is the morning show host of KDWB, and Fallon is his co-host. And they've got a bunch of other people there too. But he a lot of times, posts something funny on Facebook, or like, hey, I just had this experience this weekend. What was your experience like? Well, he posted something that said, hey, who out there has a podcast? And send me the name of it, post the name of it, and give me a 1-sentence description. Oh,
okay. I'll just say, on some of the shows, we curse a lot. So we say, I'm going to give you a description if you want to pay it on there. This is one you can't play. Okay? Right. And this will be, if you send it to them, check it. It's either at 11 minutes and 14 seconds or 26 minutes and some seconds. But this Keys bartender, and we're not, we it's kind of like a bar conversation, and we say fuck, shit, balls, pussy, asshole.
Well, what I did was I actually put the link.
I'm putting it all in there.
So that if anybody
that's something we do on that show, or
see
that's why
we're explicit.
Yes, we're explicit.
As explicit. So
yeah, we don't do all the shows aren't totally filthy, but I figure in this case we could say that and say, well, the only thing that differentiates it doesn't make us more creative than they are.
Right.
It does give us a little leeway with the things. So when we have to talk to someone about the walking masturbator or stuff like that.
Yeah,
you sent them the copy?
Episode of Mandy's Hat. So I actually put the link to keysbartender.com, and it shows
that was Mandy's Hat, the one with the walking masturbator.
Mandy's Hat was the one with the walking masturbator. Yeah, and it says, right, of course, it's got your face on it with the looking through the shot glass, and it says the comedy podcast from the Florida Keys. So I put the link, and I said, hilarious insight from many different professions in a tourist community with a reputation for partying.
Yeah.
So I figured, well, that should tell them ahead of time. But there were some other really cool ones. There were some that, there was like this women in charge, and then a really active dad, and most of the people that were on here were,
really active dad. Who was a really active dad?
It is Really Active Dad podcast, and he goes, it's just some dads hanging out talking dad stuff and interviewing.
I thought this was an episode we do. Really active dads.
No, it was just another person that was sharing
really
their podcast. Dad. So there was a total of I believe it was like 9 people that posted what their podcasts were.
Okay, and what's the gentleman's name again?
This is the Dave Ryan in the morning
Dave
show.
Ryan, Fallon. You know what? Yep. I propose, if you want, we will be your sister city. Your sister show.
Absolutely.
Down here. I know we're...
Well, I'm from there, so, we have an affiliation, so I might keep
I know you have a larger listenership, but I do have a varied one. Because we've had, what are some of the countries we've had? We had Iran. We had someone from Iran listen to our show.
We've had
and then remember we did that? Right? Where was the shout out to Iran was? Remember that shout out?
Oh.
Remember that one? That was a good one.
We had Australia.
Iran, Australia. Well, Australia. We have Australia. Yeah. Australia's regular. France, Australia, England, Germany.
Mm-hmm.
What other country? I just got my list. In Japan, we are number 37.
37.
In comedy interview. Now, that's not comedy. I think they put us into a subcategory.
Maybe.
A subcategory, comedy interview. Which is a difference, because if you have guests on, it's a comedy. It's comedy and it's an interview. But you know what? I'm starting to notice that almost everyone that when they suggest someone else, they suggest Joe Rogan.
I was just going to say that. Actually, if you pull it up, it says if you like Joe Rogan, you would like He's Florida Keys bartender.
Did it? No, that didn't say that.
It does say that.
Where?
If you like Joe Rogan on the Apple iTunes podcast.
If you like Joe Rogan,
you will probably like Florida Keys bartender.
Fucking A. Oh, my God. That just made my balls tingle.
Tingle? Did you?
Oh, yeah, I don't know if it was cold. They are the size of peas right now.
They're
inside.
They're
I'm like a turtle. It is going inside.
We went out on the boat on Sunday with some of our friends, and there was a little hole in the water. We went to Nest Key, which is kind of a little locals place where we go, anchor our boats out, walk around in the
every time they said it, I thought it was Nest Key.
Nest.
And I thought it was Nestea.
Oh, Nestea.
And it always made me thirsty for the instant tea.
Oh.
Which really fucking sucks. It's nasty.
For the
Nestea
crocodiles to nest, even though I've never seen one there. Yeah, it's actually, it's kind of a designated camping area. It's in Florida. It's in the Everglades National Park.
Okay.
But it's really cool, and we all went out there. But sometimes when people get a little stuck or if they stay out there too long and low tide comes in, you can tell that they dig a hole with their motor to get out.
Yeah.
And one of our friends, BJ, actually stepped in one of those holes and went from knee-deep water to crotch-deep water within about 2 seconds. And mind you, the water temperature is 71 degrees.
Yeah.
But it's still shockingly cold. And he was
thinking about the location of his balls that he pretty much figured.
Oh, where did he grow up?
If you look up his nose, that he could see them.
Where did he grow up?
I'm from here. He's PJ.
Okay, that's why. Yep. Fucking 71 degrees. If it going up to my balls, that wouldn't do nothing. I wouldn't even flutter. It's when it goes, and when you jump into 71, you just dive into 71 degree. It's cold for like a 1 second. But the balls are the last thing. It's right in my trunk where they fucking freeze. And I fucking freeze when it... But that reminds me, the crocodile thing. I know my buddy, that Tiki guy.
Yes.
I know Tyler's not, something. But with that Tiki guy, he wanted to do a show, and I was trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah. But we did mention on a previous episode that I wanted to do a Survivor-like show with the Tiki thing, and I thought it would be perfect on Crocidile Lake.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I don't know how many people they can fit on there and stuff like that. I think they said 6, because it's like a 6-pack license.
Yeah, I think it is a 6-pack. So you can have 6 paying passengers plus a mate and a captain.
Oh, cool. So wait, so 6 people and make it into a trivia game. Well, I'd be the mate then, because I don't want to be kicked off. But we do it in Crocidile Lake. And the reason it's called Crocidile Lake, explain to listeners.
Well, are you talking about Lake Surprise or Crocidile Lake?
But Lake Surprise has a lot of crocodiles, right?
We don't have
or just Surprise?
Crocodiles.
It has some. It has some.
Yeah, it would be.
That's the reason why I call it Crocidile Lake. Yeah, because they saw crocodiles.
Lake Surprise, there's crocodiles.
So, okay, is there more in Surprise?
Well, I think so. Although.
Okay, we could do it in Lake Surprise. That's just as good. But then do it like a game show trivia thing. And then get people to vote each other off, and you get to acquire. You don't vote each other off like straight vote. You get a certain number of votes by answering questions.
Okay,
and then you get to vote the person off.
To jump in the water
with like with a chicken breast tied to him.
Jeez.
Yeah, dragging behind him, and then maybe put him in a kayak. Maybe put him in a kayak with some bloody something that would lure him. A kayak. I'll give him a kayak with short paddles, not the real small paddles. Small paddles.
I think that this is just, of course, not the time of year for it.
Well, no, I wouldn't do it right then. I would have to do it when there's more crocodiles.
You would have to do it when it's hot out and the water temperature is above.
And that definitely, I wouldn't be able to. The waivers, I know I have this application on I got this legal form application on and it generates legal forms. I get waivers on them to
just
people
in case
decide.
They get eaten, they can't sue you.
I was thinking about that too. I was just thinking about if they got hurt in getting off the tiki. Once they get in the water, I don't think that's I don't think I'd have to do that because the eating part, once you sign that you understand that you will not be able to stay on the floating tiki during the questioning, the being exposed to the crocodiles, that's another thing. They accepted the responsibility for being off the tiki. That's their problem then. So once they're off the tiki and not attached anymore, and you give them another form of transportation, it's on them. It's on them at that time. Maybe give them like one of those big. Okay, I'll make it a little more interesting, like those tricycles they have in the water with the big balloon tires.
The big tires with the paddles.
Yeah. You do it. I would love doing that. That was great. And I wouldn't do that to people. I have empathy for people. I wouldn't take any joy seeing someone under duress being chased by.
There's actually never been a legitimate crocodile attack on a human in the Florida Keys ever.
Well, I know, but they used to say in alligators too, right?
Well, there really aren't any alligators here except for in Big Pine in the freshwater. Basically, the swamp in the reserve in the Key Deer Park, there is. But alligators...
I think someone brought them down, too, because they don't...
I think you're correct.
Yeah, they brought them down. But I'm just saying because the alligators, you don't have that problem either. But remember that story in Disney World, that little kid that... That was an alligator.
That was an alligator.
Yeah, but I mean, they rarely do that. And they rarely... and you don't hear that too often.
And it was feeding.
You think they would do? You think that would happen at one of those golf courses, especially up near the villages or something like that, where you got some slow-moving people. Yeah. Perfect place to go hunting if you're an alligator.
Have an issue with like large people though. They don't go after like big people. They only go after something that they think they can possibly digest. So they'll get a dog, or a crocodile will get a small dog off of a dog. Or a child, a very small child, that was the case with the kid at Disney. He was only about 2 years old. And he was leaning down into the water, so the alligator got his head.
Yeah.
But it's not...
That was a horrible thing that people see.
Horrible
thing. That's enough buzzkill for you people.
Right. But here's a fun fact, though. Alligators and crocodiles cannot digest food at a temperature of under 70 degrees if their body temperature is under 70. So... right now, this time of year, you're not going to see them feeding. They won't even attack you. You could most likely swim right up next to them and give them a kiss. If they let you, because they're so timid, so especially crocodiles.
I think someone got in trouble. I saw a story about someone who had sex with an alligator.
Sex with an alligator?
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I'm not just making it up to do that. And we all know about the guy that was 120 episodes ago when I mentioned the guy he was in Louisiana on the bayou. Yeah. When they had the sign, there's a large aggressive alligator in the bayou, please do not swim. And people started yelling and pointing to the sign, and this guy got up on the deck or something like that and said, fuck that alligator. And don't you know that alligator fucked him? They heard her scream, and I think they may have found his remains. Ugh. And something like that. And they do, alligators do take, obviously they do take larger people sometimes.
Well, now alligators are more aggressive, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, alligators, you're not going to see.
They have that tiny brain stem.
Yeah.
Do you remember what did he say? What's his name say?
Because they got all those teeth, but they don't have a toothbrush.
Yeah, don't have a toothbrush. Crocodiles cry because, yeah.
Because Mom, you lied. They're mad because of their medulla oblongata.
That boy has a problem with his medulla oblongata. That Colonel Sanders, Colonel Sanders, you shouldn't say that. Why would I know that? I'm really not a fan of Adam Sandler's.
No?
No, not.
Well, Waterboy was funny. I give him that.
I
laughed out loud a couple of times during that movie.
There's when we talk about humor and stuff like that, there's like Dumb and Dumber. There was and the Borat. I love Borat.
I've never seen
You know,
Borat.
It's funny that Sasha Cohen is such a serious about his work. You know what I mean? And he do this thing like Bruno, where he's a gay model from Austria, and he did a video with his dick. At the end of some show he was doing. He was giving it to a focus audience. He was doing all this kind of disgusting things in there. And then right at the end, it does Bruno, and it's a picture of a guy's dick, and the pee hole is mouthing, Bruno, like that, up and down. And you see the people, and it's like middle American people that watch the Hallmark Channel and shit like that. And they say, well, I think this is disgusting and all this stuff. And they're sitting there shocked watching this stuff. And he did it. It's a lot like Jackass, but I'd hate to even say it, a more cerebral Jackass. But people laugh at it. But I hear a comedian went and got interviewed for a comedian went in to audition for the part of his assistant in this in the movie Bruno, where he's the gay model trying to make it big in the United States because he's a has-been in Europe or something like that. So he comes to the United States and pretends to be this model. And unbeknownst to people, he has Paula Abdul and stuff like that. In one scene, he has Mexicans on their hands and knees, and he uses them for furniture. And sits on them and tries to get Paula Abdul to sit on them. And they don't know what he's doing. And I think it's Bruno, he tries to get a Rand Paul. Not Rand Paul. Who was the father? The father of Rand Paul. The guy that ran for president. He was a congressman. Last name was Paul. Okay, the father of Rand Paul, who ran as a libertarian. He tries to get him, interview him, and he's talking to him, and he does a quick break, and what he does is try to get a video, and he says in order to be famous, a famous sex tape is very important. So he tries to lure him into it, and he freaks out. Man, the guy gets all pissed off. That's the shit he does. But this comedian comes in to interview, and they said, listen, if you're going for this role, you better, as an assistant, he's playing, it's an acting gig, and he's going in front of producers and even in front of Sasha Baron Cohen, and he says, you better know how to speak German, because he knows how to speak German fluently. So he says, do you speak German? He says, yeah, I speak German. And he goes in and starts faking it, doing fake German, and he gets all pissed off. And that's the same exact shit he does to people, and he sells it and makes $80 million on. And he says same exact shit, and the other guy did it. And take the balls of someone to get offended by someone doing to him what he does to everyone else. And that's what he does for a living.
Oh, my gosh.
I just imagine that.
He just says he wants to be
the ego to do that. And the guy goes and says, Sasha Flossenhassen, and stuff like that. And they're just looking at him, and they say, well, maybe we don't get it right. Maybe bring Sasha Baron Cohen in. And he goes, and he's letting him go. And at one point he asks him, my glasses are dirty. And he says, well, let me take Sasha Baron Cohen's glasses. And he puts them in his mouth and licks them. Oh. And he says, oh, I just picked the paste on the human body that's the cleanest with the least amount of germs. And of course, that's the mouth. Which isn't true. So
you did just
I know, he did some outrageous stuff.
Turn the TV on with your foot.
Did I do it again?
Yep.
Fuck, I did it. I'm going to sit right here. There we go. I did it. Hey, maybe something interfered with it, one of the remotes, because I'm putting my feet on your remotes. As I said, the computer shut down unexplainably, and none of the power went off, and it just reset. Maybe I linked up with one of these. I mean, I'm feeling like since I've made some changes, there's been what do you call those serendipitous moments or things?
Enlightened? Not
enlightened moments where I display abilities like with music coming on, people coming into the room that I told you someone was making a comment yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. Mm-hmm. I admire Martin Luther King. Some people always say, well, who's a womanizer and shit like that. Well, who fucking wasn't? Big deal. But the guy was he was peaceful. He never incited violence. And I didn't say it. I don't want to get into discussion about it and stuff like that. And the people that are behaving badly on that day embarrass the memory of it. But, so some people that sit in a bar, obviously a bunch of white people, they start saying shit. Right? And one of them's one of our regulars. I don't want to say their name. Okay. And she starts saying, well, we got to work on that day, and they don't have to go. I said, well, wait, if you work for the federal government, you wouldn't have to work either. If you work for, like, banks are closed, and it doesn't mean they don't make the white people work and stuff like that. And people are going, and start piling on. And then I look at this person, I say her name, I said, and she knew Howard, right? Howard that comes in. Yeah. I said, hey, would you be saying that if Howard was here? And she goes, what? I said, you know what? You ever hear of WWJD? And she goes, what would Jesus do? No, what would Jim do? I said, listen, if you can't say it to the person when they're in the room,
then don't
say it when they're out of the room.
Right. And
don't say it when they're out of the room. Yeah.
Howard showed up.
And well, earlier in the day.
Oh,
that's when it happened when you weren't there.
Gotcha.
Howard showed up, and then that asshole said that shit, was saying that shit to him.
Yeah.
But she said, and I said to the person, I said, hey, so-and-so, what were you saying to me earlier? Why don't you tell Howard what you're telling me? She's doing the cut sign under her thing. Like, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
Right.
And I said, well.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
What would Jim do?
Yeah, I'd say, listen, and you should just, hey, I say some pretty asshole-ish things, but the asshole-ish things I say, I actually say it to the person.
Yeah, but it's never, like, intentionally mean.
Sometimes it's kind of mean. I mean, I've been nasty before.
I will tell you that
I've been nasty. I realize. I realize.
The men that have worked in like my neighborhood that do the trash collection are black guys.
Yep.
And they've been my garbage men.
Oh wait.
For years.
Yeah.
And they are so sweet and they're so nice. And I would have thought that they would have had the day off yesterday. So I didn't take my trash out. And they had to freaking work.
They had to work yesterday.
All of them. On Martin Luther King Day, I thought that
They worked on Martin Luther King Day. Those guys pick up on holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know what days they're off. Matter of fact, that's one of the things down here. This is for our listeners. You can hear a lot of things about the work ethic in the Keys.
Yeah.
But the thing about trash collection in the Keys, it could be fucking Christmas. If it falls on a Monday and your trash collection is Monday, there's a possibility that those guys will be there picking it up on a Monday.
Which I thought that was like, geez, yesterday was a holiday. Why are they?
Yeah, I'm in the restaurant business, and I was used to that. Oh, speaking of that, oh my God, I'm just busting with joy right here. The owner of the catch says, "You know what? We don't do a lot of. She was looking at all the Super Bowl Sundays. Realized she went off Sunday, and then she came off Sunday and the day after Super Bowl Sunday." And leave it to that. It's not like I do anything Super Bowl Sunday, meaning I'll hang out with Abby and stuff like, But, since I don't drink, right. I don't need the money. I mean, I have to go for Martini Mondays, which is great. I mean, I make money on that night. So she gave me that day off. So I'll just go to the gym and I'll hang out. She's off on Monday. But yeah, that's like a holiday there. So I'll have that Sunday, Monday afternoon, and then I'll have going to work Monday night. I'll have Tuesday off, and then Wednesday night and Thursday again. So maybe that week, maybe we'll do maybe we'll wherever the Super Bowl thing is, whatever. If you're in
Super Bowl,
go ahead.
When is it? Do you remember? Do you know what date it is?
Not this Sunday. The Sunday after.
The Sunday after.
So maybe we'll do a show. Maybe we'll spread the shows off.
Right?
We'll do a daytime thing. You know what I mean? You're off on Sundays, right?
I am off on Sundays. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe if I'm off, eventually, I would like to. Oh, Hoagie wants to go in.
He's cold.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back on.
So this Minneapolis thing, you got to tell me about it. What I know about Minnesota and stuff like that is from Fargo, from the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Fargo is not in Minnesota. Fargo is in North Dakota.
No. But no. Fargo. I know it's called Fargo. The movie. But the most of the thing was happening in Minnesota.
Only when
the actors like Francie McDormand, she was Minnesota, and said North Dakota was. What happened in North Dakota? Why did they call it Fargo?
She was actually from Fargo. Well, like she lived in Fargo. She was, I believe, on the Fargo, North Dakota Police Department.
Oh, and she went
to Minnesota to visit a friend, a high school friend. So obviously she was from.
Yeah, and all the people they interviewed and where the guys kept them, there was in Minnesota.
Right, and then
the people that got and said he was a funny looking fella.
Yeah.
And he says, "Well,
they're a little different."
And the guy says,
can't do that.
"What are you trying to be smart? You trying to be smart?" No, I'm not trying to be smart. When they made them kind of. People didn't like their representation in there, but I think it was more the
accent.
The idea I got, the two girls that messed around with them, they were idiots. And the guy who was the deputy, the Frances McDormand, was kind of an idiot, but I don't see a representation. In every movie, you have some smart people and some dumb people and some crazy and some bad people, right? So, and in this case, I didn't see a represent. When I saw the people represented in Minnesota, I didn't see them exactly, mischaracterized as being idiots. They had a different accent,
Right.
but I didn't get that from that. I didn't get that from. And actually, Frances McDormand was sharp, and so was her husband, and she was loving with her husband, and a couple of the guys that were. William H. Macy's father-in-law. He was a sharp, and it's Jewish, and he has this Jewish accountant who has a Minnesota accent.
Right.
We hear a Jewish accountant with
a Minnesota
accent.
Yeah,
and they're all talking about hockey. You see a Jewish guy talking.
It's I will tell you though that accent is it's pretty close.
Pretty accurate.
But once you hit a certain area or a certain age group. So, in our
I mean, the older people, right?
The older people, yes, and
younger
then,
people, no.
Younger people, not so much. Although once you cross Highway 8, is kind of what we say. Anything north of Highway 8, which is much north of Minneapolis, an hour north of Minneapolis, that's when you'll start to hear it from pretty much every age group.
There's it's not far off. That accent begins in upstate Pennsylvania, goes to Ohio. You got Indiana, Illinois, and what goes over there?
But see, most people who meet me think I'm from Chicago. Usually they're, oh, you're from Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago, Midwest.
No, Minneapolis, but close enough. But in my age group, too, because I grew up in the city. I didn't grow up north of Highway 8.
Yeah, there's not a really truncated thing of accents where people, if you think of pre-World War II or something like that, and historically, people didn't move around a lot.
Right.
Where they were born, where they were born, they pretty much lived and died. Right. And now we have people going all around the country, and you have a secularized, when I say secularized entertainment system where everyone, you have a mid-Atlantic accent on television, and you can pretty much, I can go 2 or 3 words at a time, and someone may not, but they hear me say water, and hear the D sometimes, or anything like chocolate.
But I have to tell you that when people come in and they're from Philly, I can tell that they're from Philly just because of how I know
people. Always said it before. I was listening to a documentary about the Philadelphia Flyers when they won the Stanley Cup in the 70s, and there was one guy talking, they're going to twist them up like these soft pretzels right here. Yes. And he found they do it on Saturday Night Live, and it was who's
it's the D's instead of T's.
Tina Fey.
Yeah.
Does the Philadelphia accent and the Boston accent, and the working class Philadelphia accent and Boston accent, Chicago accent.
Yes.
They make them sound like New York accent.
Yes.
They make them sound like they're idiots when they're talking. Any of those accents, just like the Southern accent, the hee-haw did that accent where
6 and 2.
Yeah. I'm going to go my goes in twos and stuff like that. And you say, you know what? Jesus, I understand.
Yeah.
If you go to Ephesus, you could have a Southern accent. You got a guy could be a mathematician and have a really strong Southern accent. Not so much anymore because of academia, the way they are right now. You may find people in their 60s and 50s, and you don't see.
My sister has it, but not as bad as my mom. So my sister's 56.
Yeah.
My mom is 71. Mom's going to be 72 pretty quick here. But she has it.
It's all going to blend together pretty much like accent. Eventually into races and stuff like that.
But it's a lot of
it's going to piss people off when they say
it. Every time they say something, they'll have a conversation with you. Oh, well,
Yep.
Oh,
Well, just think about these little kids. Everyone's online gaming and stuff like that, and you're talking to each other. You can't have that strong a regional accent because then if you're communicating with someone and you have to get information quickly, just the military and stuff like that. The military was one of these things. It was the first integrations of regions before integration of of races.
It's almost like
because
a
in
dialogue.
World War One, you'd have a brigade from Philadelphia, Chicago. The soldiers came from that area, and they fought as a unit. They fought as a unit from the area they came from.
Yes.
National Guard units do that a lot now still. But when it comes to the national armies and stuff like that, World War II, you're from
Everywhere.
you could be from Laguna, Philadelphia, Miami, Atlanta, all mixed together. And now these guys sit there and they got to learn how to communicate. They understand what they're saying. And that happens.
The slang is different.
The slang.
is different. And then I think it's
military slang
like
is
like a dialect.
military has its own slang, just like football.
Right.
Anything. I'm sure in your industry or my industry.
Yes. We have a lot of acronyms in my
Yeah.
industry.
86.
Yep.
That was the thing. 86 in our thing where you go like 86,
Yep.
which it must mean something. I heard it before and I just forgot. It didn't make it kind of. 86 means it's gone.
Yeah, it's
86
gone.
says
86th.
86. I don't know. So, I hope we get. Let's wrap it up. It's 41 minutes. We may have 15 minutes to attach to it.
You never know.
Who knows? We may find it.
Right. Well, so to anyone who happens to be listening from Minneapolis, welcome to a Florida Keys Bartender Comedy Podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we made you laugh a little bit, especially,
Yeah,
hopefully.
And you know what? If you send us, you can send us an email. We do have a website, and we do have. Send us an email if you have any requests or anything like that you want to send. We won't send any dick pics or anything like that.
Or
to you.
unless there's something maybe.
Unless
that
you have to, we'll send someone else's.
Specific question about the Florida Keys that we can answer for you. That would be cool.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah, about ourselves if you want to know something.
Ourselves. You can ask Jim
Yeah.
about why. He's
Let me play
the Jim.
Let me play the ending of
Jim.
that laugh again. Let's get this. And here it is. Okay, see if I can get it right here. And I'll try to bring it right up to that laugh. All right, here, hold on. One second. I'm going to turn it up a little. And I'm going to bring it right up to him. Here we go.
Why didn't you tell me your dog was a Catholic?
And that didn't really pick it.
Okay, there we go.
That's what
Is it right on the back? Where's the microphone?
Okay, that was it. Thanks a lot for listening. We'll be back.
Have a great night.
Bye.